So, I am a junior in college now, and I've been going for like 3 years, and at this point, somehow I've gotten to the point where I am reconsidering my degree being in computer science. Now, what's funny about that is just that it's like, oh, there's a bunch of things immediately that come to mind that are like, why would you reconsider that? Because, like, I almost feel like I did everything getting to this point, like I do most things, which is just really like analytically or just, you know, easily deducible without like bringing feelings into stuff. It's like, yeah, you're half decent at computer science, and if you want to get out of school with a bachelor's degree, just do that because, you know, it means that you're going to be in the best position when you finish with a bachelor's degree, right? And now I'm almost done, and I'm like, do I really want to do that though? I mean, I just got a message from one of my professors talking about how he is looking at ChatGPT and how going from the third version of it to the fourth version of it, it's just getting better and better at coding. And for whatever reason, that idea of just like technology taking over the programmer's job has never really scared me. Because I mean, even if that happens, it feels like there would be something that would just, the programmer would still be needed because, well, first off, probably some small errors or details where it would need it to be corrected for a client, but also just like how things, it would probably need the actual instruction in the first place of like, you need to know how to write the questions to actually successfully have ChatGPT build what you want it to. And that could get even better and better over time, but I don't even think that's as much as my worry as it is like just looking at the field in general. It's like, for starters, like the best jobs in the field are all in areas where I probably don't want to live, in like California, San Francisco, specifically those areas. And I don't think I want to go there with just an enormous cost of living. And it's like, okay, you can probably get jobs other places, but I don't really think that's what I want to do either, because the more I get into it, the more I'm like, oh my god, yeah, these programmers, I mean, you look at some of the places that programmers work, and it's like, oh my god, the benefits to working there are insane. But it's like, okay, but why are the benefits that insane? Like, that just shows, it seems like having all the benefits at some of these places is just like, it takes so much to keep you level-headed when you're working as a programmer. And it's like, I'm not sure I want to do that. I've never been one to be too concerned with just how much money I make for myself personally. I think this is probably similar for a lot of people, is like the reason they would actually want to make a lot of money is because of the fact that they could then, you know, be generous with it to other family members. Where it's like, me on the other hand, or just like I said, like there's probably other people that feel the same way. I just don't feel like people talk about it a lot. They would want it so that they, or like me, would want it so that they could do it for other people. And with that being the case, it's just like, I've had a lot of really interesting conversations with my family recently about just how whether or not I should feel that burden and whether or not it should affect my decision making. And they've come to the conclusion with me, basically, that I really don't need to shoulder that burden, which is interesting to me because it's not even anything we ever discussed. It was just something that I sort of needed to get over myself, and really asking them helped me understand, okay, I don't need to worry about that. And with that in mind, the salary of becoming a programmer becomes a lot less appealing to me when it's like, well, I've also seen the studies that say right now inflation's going to affect this, but right now it's about $70,000 a year is basically the threshold for like monetary happiness. And you can look that up if you're not familiar with that. It'll give you a better idea of what I mean by that. But once you make that much, it really sets a bar for happiness, and then it's like more money doesn't influence that. So it's like, what do I want to do? And then you see like other people, like I start watching these people on YouTube who make videos as software developers, and all their experiences as a software developer and things like that for computer science people all get so many views. But then in the end, they always end up turning to YouTube instead of software development continuing. It's like once they have the thing to replace software development, they get out of there as soon as possible. And like looking at that is like, that's really weird. And then that's very interesting, just like from an outer lens of like, okay, looking at the positives and the negatives. And it's like, yeah. The other thing for me is like one of the reasons that I wanted to go to computer science is because I don't really see the routes of like other, especially like other engineering fields really being things that I'm very good at. I've never been very good at sciences. Math's always been a fairly strong suit for me. It was funny because I've always thought that, but then I looked back at my like elementary like first grade things, and it's like, I wonder if I would have said that, because I saw my like report card from first grade recently, and I was like, I wonder what I would have said in like first grade was my strong abilities in school. But moving on from that, math's been my strong suit. Like I said, I haven't really done the sciences, so it's like computer science was always the idea I came up with, where it's like that can make you a lot of money. But the thing that also scares me now is, as I've been in school, I've just really allowed myself to, just become so much less physically active than I was in high school. And then I see some of these other students, and props to them. I don't know how they do it. Maybe they're taking less courses or something like that so that they can keep a more balanced life. But there's been plenty of things where I've been doing recently where I'm like just trying to keep a balanced life in general. And with that in mind, I'm like, I have not been able to stay healthy at all while I've been in college. I've probably been about as unhealthy as I've been my entire life. And it's like, I'm trying to fix that now, because I realize like doing that going forward isn't going to be a good thing. But it's like, hey, if I get out of school and I go into the trades or something like that, it's like, this is legitimately a thought I'm having right now instead of a computer science route. It's like, how that would probably help me so much, because I'm not going to be sitting on my butt all day just doing nothing. I mean, if I go into computer science, I'm really going to be lending myself towards, continuing to have like a downhill trajectory of just, wrong things in terms of health and habits. And I don't see how that could be good for me. I don't see how like the money type thing could outweigh that. And then there's the other component of computer science with, I think a lot of the stuff that really got me into it initially was like the idea of being like creative. And I think an element of that came with my parents just being both really entrepreneurial in and of themselves. My dad has owned one business his entire life. And I mean, whenever my mom has done multiple like successful independent businesses herself throughout her life, and there's just been things that pull her in and out of those things throughout her lifetime, mostly dealing with familial things, which is really, I mean, that in and of itself is really like honorable, I guess I would say, to just be able to like cut ties with something that's like you're so strongly connected with that you sacrifice it for a family. So it's like, that's nice to think about positivity with my mother. But it's just, those type of things are very important looking at it, because it's like, I've always kind of thought, because of like all the struggles I've seen, especially with my dad more so, because he during my entire lifetime has been his own boss, obviously, and it just has meant that he stays like, I see all the issues that he deals with. And I'm just like, oh, if those are all the issues that he deals with, I'm like, I don't think I want to deal with all those. I don't think I want to be my own boss because I don't want to have to deal with other people being my employees and being just a pain to deal with. But with that being said, I'm starting to think more and more that I'm going to have a really hard time dealing with that throughout my whole life, like not becoming my own boss at some point, no matter what field I pick. And if that's the case, sure, computer science would be a good route. But I mean, I feel like as I'm almost at my end of my junior year, like I feel like I've got the skills at this point. The skills, I could definitely build on some of my skills, but the skills that they're really trying to hone in for other people are really a lot of interview techniques. So I've got the basics down if I really ever want to get back to learning that. But I just really don't feel like I necessarily need to continue that in college. And with that being said, like it also just makes me think about like how going back to the point of me like wanting to work for myself at some point, like I don't know necessarily that I love the idea of just being so focused on computer science. I'm really looking into just, diversifying a lot of things, just learning about a bunch of different stuff before I graduate. And I don't even know potentially what majors that would entail me graduating with, but it's a really interesting thought for myself because of the fact that I don't need it, but I want to just widen my horizons with thoughts and other things about a lot to do with human nature, honestly, and just see what I can do with that stuff. But with that all being said, it's really interesting to get to this point where I'm like, I don't really know if computer science is for me for a variety of reasons. And even if I were to end up doing something, when I was having a conversation about this with my dad the other day, we were talking about plumbing, and I was just like, I wouldn't even mind doing that. Like, just like, it's not like a ton of physical labor. It's like a little bit getting down, moving around, going to people's houses, fixing things up when they need it, like that type of thing. But it all just comes back to the point of like, I feel like it was so like singularly focused initially, and like it's just very hard to understand how I got to that point. And I'm interested to see where it goes from here. I'm not even sure that I'm going to necessarily change, but the next few days I'm going to talk to some more advisors here at my university, FSU, if you can't tell by the softball poster from last season. And I'm very excited to see where it goes from here. So those are the reasons I'm reconsidering computer science as a junior in college. And hopefully maybe this has helped you think about some more things for career paths and things like that. But honestly, I'm just making this video because I figure it's a good way for me to talk things out for myself. And maybe it'll help some other people too, just think about some other things that they haven't thought about. So, thanks for watching. Have a good day.